Hi everyone, I'm Tammy, and I'm here to say Happy New Year's. Today is the first day of a new year. It is the first day of starting over, and many of us look forward to that every year. What can we accomplish this year? What can we do this year? You know, we set goals and we have plans for our New Year's. And so today we're here to talk about our plans for our mission with USAC in South Africa. As you know, several months ago, Brandy, Craig, and we started USAC. We formed this coalition with one mission, and that one mission is a global declaration of genocide. Because we knew that once we obtained the global declaration of genocide, that all of the problems would be solved, that little by little people would get involved, the nations would get involved, the international community would get involved, and people would be given the help that they need. So today, I'm going to be talking live with Craig Montgomery, and maybe some other special guests are going to show up. Brandy was unable to make it, but we'll see who all is able to chime in. Devin Hoffmeyer was supposed to be here. Unfortunately, he was called away at the last moment to a farm attack very close to him. Let's see if I can get my video set up to allow Craig in to the video. It looks like he's going to be adding right now. But what we want to start off while Craig joins us, I just want to start off. Hi, Craig. How are you?
Hey,
How are you?
good.
Good. Before we get going with you, I just want to start off with a little quote that those who do not remember the past are condemned to repeat it. And so I have here a press release from the Secretary General of the United Nations. Now, this was written on July 4th of 2004, and it was right after the genocide in Rwanda. And this is a press release that was sent out then, and I think that we need to revisit this because there's some great information in this. The Secretary General writes, "We must never forget our collective failure to protect at least 800,000 defenseless men, women, and children who perished in Rwanda 10 years ago. Such crimes cannot be reversed. Such failures cannot be repaired. The dead cannot be brought back to life. So what can we do? First, we must acknowledge our responsibility for not having done more to prevent or stop the genocide. Neither the United Nations Secretary, nor the Security Council, nor member states in general, nor the international media paid enough attention to the gathering signs of disaster. Still less did we take timely action. When we recall such events and ask, why did no one intervene? We should address the question not only to the United Nations or even to the member states. No one can claim ignorance. All who were playing any part in world affairs at that time should ask, what more could I have done? How would I react next time? And what am I doing now to make it less likely that there will be a next time? So I think, that's a very powerful statement. That was a message sent out by the Secretary General that they deeply regretted that they had not moved fast enough and intervened soon enough. And please remember the quote that we started out with, those who do not remember the past are condemned to repeat it. Let's hope that the Secretary General of the United Nations is not condemned to repeat this message that he sent out in 2004. What do you have to say about that, Craig?
Yeah, and it's kind of strange now that we have a South African lady, Karen Smith, who is actually going to be the assistant to the, how's it go now? She will be the assistant.
The special advisor of the responsibility to protect.
So they're supposed to prevent genocide before it happens. It's funny that they placed a South African lady in that position. She was a professor at Stellenbosch University, and from 2000 to 2010. She was also at in the Western Cape as well. So she knows the situation in South Africa. And with this BLF and EFF going crazy and the rhetoric of killing the Boer and threatening to kill men, women, and children of the white race. And the rhetoric's getting deeper and deeper by the day, and we don't hear anything from President Ramaphosa, who's the ANC leader of the country, the same person who went to the UN and to the EU. It stated that there was no farm murders going on when there's been over 70,000 white murders in South Africa since independence of 1994. And before that, during the apartheid era, there were only 21,000 murders. That is over a period from 1948 to 1994. So the genocide is happening, and it's not only them. It's also on the other minorities like the Indians and the I'm going to call them Khoisan people now, because
hang on, Greg, just a minute. We're having a sound problem. Craig, do you have any other devices on near you? Something is interfering with our sound. I've just turned off my computers and my cell phone.
All right, let me check it out.
I've turned off everything.
All right, let's change all this.
Would somebody be so kind as to tell me if they can hear me?
Now is it better?
Craig's sound is good. Okay. My sound is not good. All right.
Maybe next to a computer or something.
No, I've got everything turned off. Let's see. Let me just move into another room that I usually broadcast out of. Okay? Somebody please tell me if that is any better. Okay, Craig, they're not having trouble hearing you, so I'll just let you talk.
Okay. So, as I was saying, the Ramaphosa went to the UN and to the EU and stated that there was no murders in South Africa with regards to the white people, but the minorities are also getting attacked as well. The rhetoric now is that all white people that are in South Africa do not belong there. Well, the historical fact is they do. It wasn't colonialists that took over that country. It was actually settlers came there. They started a way station, and a lot of the people that were left behind to work the way station didn't want to go back. So they just formed their own nation, their own people. And many more came. And when the British came, they brought more people, and they brought people from Asia. But there are land deeds that were made with the Khoisan, with the Zulus, and with the other tribes in the north as well. Now, the rhetoric that the blacks were in the Cape area during the 16th century is absolute nonsense. If you would like, we would gladly take anybody, any entity, any government, or any group in South Africa, political group, if you can prove to us by coming with us to Switzerland, and you can prove your case in the court, international court in Switzerland, bring your land deeds, we can prove who really owns the land. Now today, it was announced by the Khoisan king that he wants everybody to realize that this is his land and you are not welcome. Now what? Are you going to tell this man, who's the original owners of this land, that you all belong and that the Hermanus Beach or the Clifton Beach belongs to you, so you can kill sheep and spread the blood over there, and you weren't there in the 1600s, and you only arrived around the 1800s, which is 200 years long before you ever came to the southern part of Africa. So it's nonsense. They can't prove it. They know they can't prove it. And mass mobs and and forcing and threatening and blaming and trying to do stuff is not going to work. We have a major problem on your hands right now, especially the EFF. There's been a filings in the International Criminal Court in The Hague, and Mr. Malema, you got bigger problems than you need to do right now. Chasing after Andile on the beach to prove that you're better than him, and he's already been there. It's a joke. He already got there, and now you're running after him like a little sheep. So, and you're both blaming each other, but Mr. Ramaphosa stands back and says nothing, while these same entities are burning down the same clinics that they need, the same fire departments, the same police stations, the same hospitals, schools, burning businesses. Who would want to invest in your country when they see that you are doing this? Especially if you did get into power. Nobody wants anything to do with you. Here's another thing. Yesterday, Tammy, myself, Brandy, and Alice started USAC. And that was to help you provide us with all the criminal activity of the ANC for discrimination, human rights violations, the rape and murder and torture of whites, the murder of 70,000 white people since 1994. We want all the discriminative laws that force white people to give up their businesses to black people because of racism, the persecution of minorities in South Africa. We want all that information. We want all your cases, all your case numbers. Join us. That's one thing. I personally have joined the World Advocates, and I'm representing North America. So yesterday, on the eve of New Year's, I sent to the DOJ, the Department of Justice, the United States, a 56-page document which was compiled by this other organization, the Advocates, in conjunction with a number of other people and organizations, where we have almost 100 and something names and companies that are laundering and stealing money all over the world. And they all belong to the ANC. This is just one filing. Then we've got the PWD, the Public Works Department, that we filed a case on them too. And then there's another case that's coming. And that's coming very soon too. And we are not going to stop. We told you we're going to bring the world, and we are. Right now, the ambassador for South Africa is a South African lady. She's a South African, she's a US citizen, born in South Africa, as I am. And we have a South African in the UN now.
So how do you think this is going to help us, Greg?
The message is going out. Even now, in the United States, a number of radio stations, a number of high-profile personalities are coming out. Even Ann Coulter in the White House has stated they're well aware of what is going on in South Africa.
We have a number of people responding right now that they need help right this minute, Craig. They need war. They need weapons to help right this minute. What can be done right this minute?
The problem with that is I cannot tell you, I cannot be associated with war.
Okay, one thing that you can do is get us your information.
But I can tell you that should the ANC government, the EFF, and the BLF erroneously make the mistake that they are shouting for in January, of crossing the line, there is entities in the country ready for them. There is international militaries waiting for that same thing. There is American bases real close to that country. I implore them not to make that mistake, because civil war is not the answer. And these people that are doing this, most of them are criminals. They're stealing, taking, thinking it's going to be okay. In the end, freedom is free. No. If they cross the line with the land reform situation, you will have a civil war in South Africa. And I can guarantee you the ANC government will not win. The police are inept, incompetent, and useless. The military is completely fallen apart. They're just a bunch of fat, useless individuals. There has been other people that have been sent to Mozambique to train and to Rhodesia to train. We're well aware of who they are and what they're doing. As for these other entities, we know where they live. We know where they are 24/7. They are being stupid. They honestly have never seen war. They've never seen hell come from the sky. And it takes 2 Apache helicopters and about 4,000 troops, and that country is done. And the first people that are going to run to the airplanes are going to be Ramaphosa, Mr. Malema, and Mr. Andile. But believe me, you will be arrested for crimes against humanity. We are not playing. We are not playing. We're not joking either. There's nowhere in the world you can hide. We will find you.
Craig, do you think it is going to take war to get the ANC to stop?
Well, with these ICC filings and with the DOJ filings and with the rest of the filings that we are doing, the ANC's got a lot of problems on their hands. If it comes to war, they're not going to win. I suggest, and I'm hoping, that it doesn't come to war, because there will be nobody that is not affected. Every single family in South Africa will have a family member die. I've been in 4 wars. Nobody gets away with it. Nobody. And nobody wins. An interim government will be taken over, and guess what will happen? The UN will run the South Africa. And the politicians that you don't want in there will run that country. Now, there is moderate blacks in South Africa who don't want this either. And there are other black parties that want to come up and they don't want this either. And they want the ANC out. The ANC had 24 years, and all they have done is stolen money. And we've proved it now with the DOJ filings. Ramaphosa is a billionaire. How did he become a billionaire? He forced his way on people, stole the money. And if the amount of money that he has got right now, every single South African in the country could have a free house. They stole that same amount of money from Eskom.
So what do you think the solution is, Craig?
I say to all South Africans, be prepared for civil war. There is a genocide going on. We are no Facebook warriors talking nonsense. We're the ones that are filing the things against the thing. There are other groups out there are taking your money, but we don't see no training. We don't see no survivalists. We don't see no places for you. We don't see anybody taking the squatter camps in and helping them. They're just taking your money, and they can give nice videos, and that's all you get. I suggest you find groups that can teach. You have escape routes for your children. You have escape routes for your women. Have enough food for 3 months. Find ways to get together and fortify yourselves in. Do not make the mistake of attacking. You defend all the way to the gate.
But Craig, what about the people that are being arrested for defending themselves during attacks?
Believe me, in the end, the police, the chief of police, General Idiot, and I'm calling him that because he thinks we idiots. I personally will tell you right now, we will hold him for crimes against humanity. He is inciting this problem by allowing this to happen, and it is a human rights violation to take a man's weapons away, that he cannot defend his family. He has to watch his wife and children be raped. In some cases, he's raped. And then they slaughter the family as young as 2 years old. And this is ongoing. They wrap towels around 90 and 80-year-old people and pour boiling water on their heads take drills and drill through their knees, take ironings and burn these people for hours, torture them and rape them and torture them, and you rape children, you're nothing but animals. So to the police, if these people cannot defend themselves, you will be held for crimes against humanity because you have deliberately made them victims. To the farmers that were arrested for defending their farms the other day, you better release them because we're not playing. And if the government thinks that they can win a civil war, they will not win a civil war. They forget that the old SADF is outside and inside South Africa. And there's over 5 million white South Africans outside the country. And I call upon all of them that have left, that are still there, stand up and be counted. And when I call, if I call, I want a 1 million man army. And I'm not joking anymore. My joke is done. This is 2019, the 21st century. The old days of Robert Mugabe are gone. They will not happen. Not over my dead body. I will not stand idle and let this happen again. President Trump, please stop this before it goes down. We don't want war. We've all seen it before. It's terrible. It's hell on earth. And in the end, two men stood aside and pointed fingers at each other. And when they could have shook hands and fixed the problem. But when you've got a racist government in power that's been there, that made a document in 1993 stating that they will take all the white people in South Africa and slowly boil them like a frog, not knowing that they're going to die. Well, the stupid fool didn't realize these ain't stupid frogs. The frogs climbed out of the water. And they're not going to die. And to all the black people and white people in South Africa, no matter how you look at this, you got to live together. And to the colored people in South Africa, I don't want to call you coloreds anymore. You have been there as long as the Khoisan and the Khoi and all them. You should be called Khoisan instead of coloreds. It's a racist term.
Yes, in the United States, colored is a very racist term.
Yeah, it should not be that way. I think the government should change that in the next elections. Whoever gets to power, constitutionally change that.
One of the reasons why I have gotten involved in this issue is because I think it's time for the American businessmen and women to get involved. I think if more Americans got involved in this issue, we would get the American government involved. So I'm urging all to do so.
The New York Times published a piece on the deputy president of South Africa on the criminal activities and corruption that he's involved in. Suddenly they went to ground. They were quick to shut up. It's been funny that Mr. Ramaphosa is very quiet right now because the UN, the Germans and the Russians rejected his policy, his ideas. I'm calling on the United States to put full-blown sanctions. I'm calling on Nikki Haley in the UN and President Trump to put full sanctions on the South African government to reverse their land reform policies immediately before there's a civil war, and this is a human rights violation. They cannot prove the land reform is based on land acquisition based on historical fact. It's actually a lie, and they know it's a lie. And if Mr. Ramaphosa and whoever, whatever group, ANC, whatever, wants to join us in Switzerland with their deeds and with their proof of historical fact, not bullshit fact, historical fact, then meet us, debate us on live TV. Anywhere in the world, I'll debate you on CNN, I'll debate you on Fox News, I'll debate you on any place in the world. We'll make it a worldwide national TV debate. Every black person has a piece of paper in the South African government that feels that they entitled to any land.
Okay, one of the viewers are saying, what about the other major problem, China? Would you address that for us?
Yes. Should there be full-blown sanctions in South Africa, China has to, because they're part of the UN Charter, has to come up with a solution of leaving. I am sure the international communities will reimburse China for their investments of sorts in time. Well, I'm sure the new government would reimburse them for their efforts in building their own communities and power stations that are there. And the New Deal with a new moderate capitalist government that is a free society, that is based on a capitalist system of free enterprise, and everybody in South Africa can be part of that system. And as for the farming nonsense, the minute these farms are taken away from the whites, you've got a massive humanitarian problem on your hands with food. The food crisis will be a massive thing. The inflation will go up three times what it is right now. And they talk about the migrants leaving over into Europe. This would be the same thing, because most of the people start heading north looking for food. It'll impact, especially on refugees. It'll impact most of Africa. South African economy will collapse. It'll go to $30 rand to the dollar, guaranteed. The same people that are calling for this rhetoric right now will be the ones that the people turn on, because it won't take long. It'll give it a year and it'll be over. All the banks in South Africa will collapse. They can't sustain something where they can't pay for it. You can't just take somebody's house and expect him to pay for something he doesn't own. Because if you want to take it, you take the bill. They don't get this idea. Everybody's warning them to stop it. But here's the thing that's really strange. The black people that actually are asking for it don't realize this has been happening to them for years, and as well. It's just that the whites refuse to accept it. The government's going over there to the black communities and just taking, and they don't say anything because they think it's okay. Because they're scared of these thugs. No more. You want something, you pay for it. There's nothing for free. As for the farming, the lie that the whites own 70% of the land, it's a lie. The government owns 70%. No more lies. Bring facts, present them in court, and we can prove to the world that you're lying. All of the land reform rejections that were put out were ignored by this government because they're lying. They won't put them forward. The 75% of the land that is actually available to farm, if given to black people, the banks won't loan them money, the government leaves them hanging out there, and the farms collapse overnight. Why? Because they don't know how to manage them. And they don't have the finances to actually do the farms. My solution is, if there's a new government in the country, they need co-op farms where there's 10 farms per group with a management system in the middle of it that helps them manage their farms, shows them what to do, educates them on it, and has the funds to actually make them successful, that country can be the breadbasket of the whole of Southern Africa, in wheat, in sugarcane, in all kinds of stuff. The mining system in South Africa needs power all the time, has to run 24/7. Otherwise, the mines collapse. That's exactly what's happened. So the mining system in South Africa is falling apart because the government's incompetent, doesn't know what they're doing, and they're stealing everything. Listen, after 24 years, and here's another thing: in the Truth and Reconciliation Committee, people came forward for almost a year with Desmond Tutu and crew, and they presented their case, explained their case, and they were all forgiven, black and white, for killing each other. That was the peace process. Now, 24 years later, that seems to be, everybody has amnesia.
You know, Craig, everybody is asking us for what they can do to help. But we've been begging you for some time to send us statements. In order for us to prove the genocide in the international community, we need your statements. We need your statements sent to us at the USAC website. I will be posting links. I will be posting information here, and I will also be posting links for documents for you to read. At the end of this feed, I will post all of that.
Another thing too is there's a petition out there for 1 million signatures. And if everybody is that desperate and that needs help, I need 1 million signatures. I have 8,000 signatures. That's disgusting. And I'm appalled. You know, there's an old saying, but for a few brave men and women, evil goes unpunished.
Thank you, Liza, for posting that.
Yeah, I need every single person to contact every single member of your families that have left South Africa, that are connected to you, friends, family, everybody. Lots of you have 5 to 1,000 friends on your Facebook pages. Get hold of them. Have them sign the damn petition. It's not 10,000 that we want to take to the White House. We want 1 million signatures, 1 million signatures. And 1 million signatures is affecting 5 more people because that's in their family. That means that 5 more million people know about it. But you can't expect all of us to help you if you cannot help yourself. If you don't want to stand up, I cannot help you. Contact all your family members overseas and tell them to get to their politicians, to make it communities know what is going on. Get on the newspapers, get on the newsreels, get on the radio, get to everybody you know. And the more we get this message out there, the more this will come to a head. And these criminals will be put in their place once and for all, in jail. And when we replace this government, and we will, arrest the entire ANC, IFP, EFF, and the BLF. And talking about the IFP, Paramount Chief Mongo Buthelezi and King Goodwill Zelatini. I said this yesterday or the day before. Mandela gave you a present. Don't let this Tsotsi on the ANC now take it away from you so that you lose your tribal land. And that's what they're going to do. Now, some people said the other day that Buthelezi backed the ANC's policy on land reform. No, he didn't. He said, you need to be very careful how you do this. That was a veiled warning to the ANC, in my opinion.
Many people are asking us to send the petition. We will post it in this link in this feed when we're through. Now, Devin Hoffmeyer was supposed to be here. Unfortunately, as I announced at the beginning of the show, that he has been called away to an attack that was very close by him. He has been responding to that. So we'll try to get him another time.
Guys, I leave you this message. This is 2019, and the century is the 21st century. We have technology that is unbelievable. When I was a kid sitting on a wooden chair with a wooden desk with an ink pot and a dip pen back in the day, in the 60s, never thought that I could have a cell phone or a phone on my arm, on my wrist, where I could talk to you in seconds from America. I'm sitting 8,000 miles away talking to you all over the world. They can hear me instantaneously. I remember sitting and listening to the radio back in the day, and it said, there was an earthquake in Fiji, and 53 people died. That was 3 weeks ago, because that was the only time the news came to us. Now it's instantaneous. The same thing could happen to you right now. By the end of next week, I would like 1 million signatures, because you can get to those people. Don't rely on us to do it all for you. there's not enough of us.
You know, even petitions, Craig, we need those statements. We need people to take the time to tell us what is happening to them.
Yes, you have the case number, and there's a statement form on there. Put the case number on. Write your statement as best you remember, and place it in there. We will guarantee you that it'll be protected till the day we start submitting this to the governments of the world. But we don't have time.
No, something you need to know is we have done a lot of research. We know what is needed to be able to get the declaration of genocide, but we can't do it without you. We have to have your statement, your pictures, your video.
Yes, and here's another thing so that you know. There's been the rhetoric that there's not enough genocide. What I call BS, and I call it straight to the face of anybody that tells me otherwise. It's not until the entire population, the white population of South Africa, must be annihilated before somebody admits that there is genocide. Absolute bullshit. I will state that categorically to their face, to anybody. 70,000 people have been murdered, and ongoing still today, and right now it's happening again. These are not only the attempted murders, but the torture and discrimination and all the points, 10 points. Now, as Tammy read earlier, there was only, 5 points before they need to step in and try to stop it?
Yes.
5. We way past 5.
I'm going to get that document and read that again. So the UN put in place a 5-step procedure. The first one is preventing armed conflict. They say that genocide is almost always occurs during war. So the first step is to prevent armed conflict. The second is the protection of civilians in armed conflict. Should armed conflict break out, their top priority is to protect the civilians. The third is ending impunity. This means that the people responsible for the genocides will be hunted down and they will be brought to an international tribunal.
Can you just hold it there? So Mr. Andile and Mr. Malema and Mr. Ramaphosa, you need to read that point because you are responsible right now. Anything you say, any murder that happens as of today, you are responsible as per the UN Charter. And that means I'm holding you responsible, and so is the world. And we are not going to stop now. So either you reverse your policies or you face the music.
The fourth is an early and clear warning. And I want to read this to you. One of the reasons for our failure in Rwanda was that beforehand we did not face the fact that genocide was a real possibility. And once it started, for too long we could not bring ourselves to recognize it or call it by its name. If we are serious about preventing or stopping genocide in the future, we must not be held back by legalistic arguments about whether a particular atrocity meets the definition of genocide or not.
Thank you.
By the time we are certain it may be too late to act, we must recognize the signs of approaching or possible genocide so that we can act in time to avert it.
So before I forget, I would just like to put this out to certain groups that are in South Africa. If you are taking money from people and you are a civil entity that's supposed to be helping people in the case of emergencies, in the case of civil war, where are the training camps? Where are the safe places? Where are the courses? Where's the food storage? Where's the training? Where's the first aid training? I'm hearing horrific stories about people giving out money, and all you hear is rhetoric. And they don't recognize genocide. I'm saying to all the guys out there that know me and know what I was talking about, find the groups, the old groups that know you out there. I know you out there because you contact me often. Not the public ones, the other ones. They know how to use a gun. They know how to make first aid. They know how to make a fire. And they know how to hunt. And to the black people of South Africa, you don't want this, and nor do they. They just want to live in peace. There is no child of any race, color, or creed born in South Africa right now that is not an African, who does not have the right to live there. And the rhetoric that the land belongs to you or anybody else is a lie. Because once you decide to cross the line and commit genocide on white people, you will have to go to the Indians and the Khoisan people and any other minority that is not Bantu. And God help you.
Do you have anything else, Craig?
I will not allow it. I only wish one thing for you all. Replace the ANC with a peaceful, moderate, capitalist system of government that provides for all colors, creeds, and to teach tolerance of all colors. Because you're all South Africans, no matter how you look at it. And bring the death sentence back, and your nonsense will stop overnight. I'm out of here.
All right, thank you for joining us, Craig.
Thanks.
I'm going to see if my mic will stop feeding back once he's cut his feed. Now, I hope you can hear me just a little bit better and there's no feedback, because I believe that my device was echoing off of his device. He has some pretty loud speakers in his room, his computer room. Somebody please tell me if you can hear me. There's a couple of other things that I want to share with you before we go today. And again, I'm hoping that thank you, the sound is good. I understood that it was just a feedback. You know, I want you all to go on the UN government's website for the prevention of genocide. You will see documents like this. I will be posting this document, but this is the press release that was released in July of 2004, and it documents how they failed to move in time, to protect those in Rwanda. And that's what we're trying to do. We're going to remind them that if you do not remember the past, that you are doomed to repeat it. And we don't want that happening again. We believe it's time to act. We believe it is time for people to step in. We believe that it's time for the UN to get involved. It is hopeful that the new Karen Smith will be able to step in and pick up this ball and run with it very, very quickly. There are a lot of people behind the scenes working, and though you think we're just sitting here talking to you, we're not. Behind the scenes, there are many things going on. Craig and Brandy work on this around the clock. Devin Hoffmeyer is another one we've made contact with, and he has a team of people working on this also. There are many people fighting for you. There are many people doing everything that they can, and very much of the time what we're trying to do is we're trying to create the perfect storm for the ANC government. We need to hit them from all sides with legal filings and with the possibility of military interaction coming very soon, and with the international court getting involved. we need to hit them from all angles. And while everybody is doing some little something, it is our hopes that one day it will be the straw that breaks the camel's back. We know you need help. We know you need it very soon, and you need it right now. We know war is looming. We're well aware of it. We probably know the news happening over there just as much as you do, because we listen to it. It comes up in our feeds all night long while we're sleeping, and we're well aware of what is going on out there. But I do want you to know that I cannot stay silent and be one of those members in the international community that says, why didn't I do more? I will not be that person, and that's why we're leveraging the power of our publishing house to help those in South Africa. And I'm urging businesswomen and businessmen in the United States to get involved, do something. Everybody has the ability to do something. This must stop. As an international community, we cannot sit back and look when 100,000 more have been killed and say, well, why didn't we do something? It's time to act now. I'm urging the UN, I'm urging President Trump to get involved. I'm urging our Congress to convene a special session. Let's get to the bottom of this. Let's implement some drastic measures very quickly, and let's stop it. Let's stop this right now. And that's all I have for you today, but thank you for tuning in. We will be posting links. I will be adding links on there. I want you to read these documents. I want you to get a hold of this new Karen Smith. She needs to hit the ground running because she's got a mighty big war on her hands to stop this and prevent this before any more are killed. And I do want to clear up one thing. Genocide does not mean the total eradication of an entire race of people. It can mean the attempted total eradication. The one element of genocide that is hard for people to step in on, and I've been studying this a lot, is intent. People have decisions, the governments have hard times making decisions if they can't tell if there's an intent to eradicate people. Well, it's very clear from all of the videos and from all of the information going out by the EFF, Julius Malema and Dile Maximum, and Ramaphosa, all of these people, that there is a clear intent to eradicate the entire white race from the continent of South Africa, from the country of South Africa. That is very clear. There is no misunderstanding there. When you have people singing, kill the Boer, kill the farmer, when you have people saying that it's time to just take back everything from the whites, to get rid of them. We must not let them leave, we must kill them. When they're killing babies, to prevent them from ever having children of their own. It's very clear that the intent is there, and so genocide should be declared immediately. That's all I have for you. Thank you, everybody. We're doing our best. Please send your statements. We can help you much faster if you just send us your statements. We vow to protect them. They are being held on secure servers, so we thank you. Good night.